there are so many formats that we think people are supposed to do. You're supposed to have the color blue, or you're supposed to have gold, or you're supposed to use this exact kind of language. But what that does is that just leaves everybody on the same playing
Yep.
field. It doesn't put anyone above the other. All I want to say right now is wah, wah, wah. Like, that's all I can think about. And this happens all the time, like, because that's how it feels when you're trying to lead the pack and you really are a leader. Like, you've been around for so many years already, you've served so many people. But yeah, when you just blend in that way, it deflates your opportunities. And I think a lot of times it's diluted. We're trying to fit into the pack so hard, or in a lot of cases clients are, they started out by replicating a brand that was further along than them at that time. So they tried so hard to replicate someone else's brand that it never quite fit. It's like buying shoes in the wrong size. The shoes might be cute, but they're pinching your toes the whole time. You're not going to be able to like be mentally present while you're wearing them, right? So it's that same kind of thing with a brand where if you force yourself to fit into this category and look like everyone else, it's actually completely undermining how people connect to you. And I think, especially if you are the kind of brand that you're in the practitioner space or you're in the legal space, there are so many formats that we think people are supposed to do. You're supposed to have the color blue, or you're supposed to have gold, or you're supposed to use this exact kind of language. But what that does is that just leaves everybody on the same playing
Yep.
field. It doesn't put anyone above the other. And so we really like to challenge our clients to come in and, like, how do we signify to people that yes, you are safe and trusted in this space, but what makes you different? Like, what is that little quirk, that extra seasoning spice that you bring to the table that we can really highlight? So, when we're looking at brands, instead of, oh, we want you to fit in and be the same as everybody else, we want the big markers to be enough to tell people, hey, you're safe and this is trusted. But we want everything else to just dial your personality up to 11, because that's what lets people connect with you and then makes your brand suddenly stand out, and makes the brand sing instead of sounding like a really sad trumpet.
Yeah. I think too, it's a lot of times the reason they blend in is because they play it safe. And
Yeah.
they that's a tough one because rebel energy can have, some consequences and pushbacks. I'm speaking from that rebel persona.
she's the
That's
rebel in
me.
this business.
But yeah, because it can, I mean, it can backfire on you. And so people do tend to play it safe, especially with their brands. They're like, oh, I don't want to, say something about this, or I don't want to go this direction because I'm worried about, well, what will my current audience think? And that's another area too. A lot of times we are rebrand specialists. We work with people
Yeah.
who already have an established brand, but they're pivoting in some way, and they're looking for a change. And it usually is coming from a place of rebellion in there. They've grown and they're like, I've outgrown my brand and I want to move on and I want to say things that are a little bit more edgy or a little bit more current, or something like that. So that's where I think we see a lot of people hesitating because they're worried about that blowback from becoming a fitting in with everybody else. And
Yeah. Well, and I will also say, if you're like Gretchen, then you're trying to lean into that rebel edge. If you're like me, you're like, ooh, rebel, I don't know. Sassy, maybe. I
yeah,
got, some spice or something to bring to the table,
yeah,
sure. But so that I think that is another reason that holds people back um, from really expressing who they are, or owning everything that they really have to bring to the
yeah,
table. And when we talk about, why do we have this business? Why is it so important to us to focus on rebranding? And for me, it's because we're working with people who are finally able to say, I'm done pretending to be everybody else. I'm going to be who I am. I know my worth. I know what transformation I bring to the table for my clients. And it's time to finally step into that and to sing it from the rooftops. And I think a lot of times we forget that your credentials people already see that. Like they already see your track record and what you do. Half the time it's just that your digital life hasn't kept up with it, especially your website. But that rebranding process and that process of saying I'm done looking like everyone else or sounding like everyone else or blending into my category, that means you really are at that pivotal point where you're ready to say, okay, I'm ready to reinvent myself and to just really put a spotlight on who I really am instead of who I was 10 years ago. So that's so much fun to me because it's just kind of this unraveling of all the old things while keeping a really solid foundation of what has worked and brought you here, and then just growing on that. So when you do it in the right order, it gives you permission to stop being like everyone else and just show up as you, because that's what we really need at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
And I can't think of a single one of our clients that play it safe.
No.
I mean, they might come to us with that in mind and thinking, okay, I'm, not sure where we're going, but by the time we get through that brand strategy, they are ready to rock and roll. And, there's no holding back. And the ones who
Yeah.
are taking that chance and reinventing themselves, like you said, those are the ones that are actually, moving the needle, changing the game.
Well, and what's so fun about that is it doesn't just impact their business, it actually impacts their life.
Yeah.
Like we've had clients say, who knew that going through a rebrand would not only make me feel better about what I'm directing people to, but my staff suddenly like me again.
Yeah.
We've heard that more than once. We've heard people say, oh my gosh, I could go on vacation with my husband and he's no longer grumbling under his breath because I'm working all the time. Like this has a ripple effect impact. Like it is something that absolutely should impact more than just your business. It should be impacting your brand, your business, and your life,
Yep.
and really giving you that freedom to focus on legacy. Like, where are you going next? That's the whole reason someone's going through a rebrand is they're ready for that pivot to grow and to focus on the future. And so I think this has so many really fun, unexpected benefits when they go through that process of finally saying, I'm done being like everyone else, time to march forward. So we love seeing that unfold.